So the physics project focused on sediment transport processes in the intense currents. So the extreme tidal environments can generate high transport of coarse sediments. And the aim of the project is to define the risk coming from the sediment flux or tidal turbines. So for that, we develop specific in situ systems. We put them in the Rat Blanchard. We studied the data obtained and developed model to look at the particle dynamics. These tasks on the environment were led by the SHORM, measurement systems, their implementation and survey by X-Survey and FEM, and numerical modeling by INSTA Bretagne and University of Brest. I shall present you the last three tasks. For each type of particles, the expected results are the mobility threshold processes, the mode of transportation, and the moving speed and height above seabed. We particularly look at the movements of pebbles which don't move in normal environments, and it's the particular currents, strong currents, which can move these pebbles. So the Rat Blanchard has been chosen for tidal energy because of its strong currents, which can reach speed greater than 3.5 meters near the seabed, which is very exceptional. And the result on the seabed is that it is a rocky area. The physics area is here. And in the north and the south of these zones, the rocks is covered by pebbles. And when the currents decrease, we can see gravels and sands in the north and also in the south of this part. So this organization is coherent with the strength of tidal currents, which prevent the deposition of sediment in the most energetic zone. But how sediments cross through this area, it's the question asked for the physics project. So we developed 5 mooring frames created for the project, which present a perfect adaptation for this environment. And each of them included sensors for hydrodynamic characterization, but essentially for dynamics of sediment. So all the system has been transported and laid on the bottom on the 27 and 28 of September 2017 for 1 month. The area has been defined in the tidal form in an area adapted for the measurement of turbulence for the Timothée project, and at a depth which can be reached without a problem for divers. So it's a rocky area, and the 4 places of the mooring frames and the sediment trap are there. So the sediment trap was laid on the seabed to catch pebbles at 2 height until the bottom, on the bottom. And in fact, we get it only 6.5 months after, and all the parts, the metallic part and so on, disappear, and we don't find anything. So we have some sands and gravels at the top of the system, and we found also sediment in the mooring systems. So we have also problem with the the column of impact sensors because all disappeared as for the sediment trap. And the two video cameras and the hydrophone did not provide non-data. So, on the other hand, the more classic and more compact systems have survived, allowing the measurement of currents and providing some information of sediment dynamics. The backscatter from Aquascat has been used to the measurement of particles in suspension from silt to sands. This permits to detect the sediment size abundance, and we see that it follows the velocity of currents, and the concentration is very small during neap tide, but it could be about 2 grams by liters during spring tide. With ADCP, we use the same approach to look at the sediment fluxes, but the system of ADCP could be used for coarse sediment. So we see for currents analysis that we have very short period of calm, and during the strong period, we see that speed near 3 meters by second are frequent. For sediment dynamic, the mean backscatter has been studied. We see here all the signal, and we see also for one day between 21 and 22 of October. So it's a spring type period. So we see at the top near the surface signal which come from clouds of bubbles, and we see also a signal near the bottom which come from particles which are in suspension. So to look at this data, we conserve only the beam with a strong backscatter, and so we filter at 5 dB to have only the particles larger than the beam. And we take only where there is only one beam which have a signal. So we see here that during spring tide, we have the signal of clouds of bubbles on the surface, but near the bottom, we see also the signal from particles. And here it's only large particles. So if we take off the bubble signal, we see that we have particles like here. This particle is a particle larger than 13 centimeters, which is at 6 meters high. So this result, we see that in one day, we have near 30 pebbles seem to pass between 2 and 20, between 3 and 20 and 12 meters high. This result is very original, but it lacks a confirmation that should have been provided by the trap, cameras, and equipment. Another original method used during a physics project has been to put acoustic tags in tables to follow their journey on the bottom. The tables taken from the Raz Blanchard were preferred to in marine area were preferred from the shore pebbles, which are too small that we see here, and we choose 50 pebbles, and we put chips in them. So we put them between the 4 frames, which have each receive antenna, and there is also one antenna on the trap. So during the time, the pebbles, over the time, the ships stop emissions. You see here from 38 in October, we have only 18 in December. It's because the decreasing, they stop emissions at a certain time, so it's probably the reason of the decreasing of detection of pebbles. Could be also because they go out the zone. The principal result is that we have two pebbles which were there and that we observed them with the antenna of the trap. So two of them, these two pebbles, we are sure that they move during the period. The principal problem for this detection is the roughness of the area. The emissions, you see here, the blocks are about 1 meter large. So the emission from pebbles between these blocks could not be received simultaneously by three antennas. And this roughness plays probably also an important role in the movement of pebble, which can be protected by this roughness. So the objective of the PhD of Gaspard Munster on modeling of sediment dynamics was to measure in a flume length and height of the jumps, to quantify the impact of the bed roughness, and to implement the result in a numerical model to generate maps of extreme jump heights of particles. So three particle diameters, round particle diameter, free flow discharge and free roughness were used to make 27 experiments. And during these experiments, the jumps of the particles were studied. So we see in yellow the conditions where there is no saltation, and in green when there is. So there is a very important impact of the roughness on the movement and jump of particles, according to new relationship linking length and height of jumps, flow profile and bed roughness. An empirical formula had been added in a regional numerical model. So we see here the map with the place where the jump of sediment is observed. But in fact, the generated jumps seem weak compared to supposed jumps and to observation. So to conclude, in the physics mooring frames, the physics mooring frames are adapted to the rough conditions of the Raz Blanchard. The systems developed to look at the pebble dynamics they did not resist to the strong conditions. These deteriorations could come from pebbles, but they can also be due to the confrontation with strong currents for a too long period, because the system were on the seabed during near 8 months. Some data from instrumented pebbles and ADCP show nevertheless that the movement of pebbles does exist, and that the transport by saltation or of asymmetric pebbles would be at heights which can reach some meters above the bottom, probably near 10 or 12-meter high. The conditions are too severe to have enough data, but the models are therefore the only solution to make sediment dynamic forecast. But these are always based on unproved theories, and so they give very different results depending on the models used and on the formulations used. So thank you very much.